in the infield here at the CKNA Spring Nationals with Todd Barron. Todd is from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Todd is 62 years young and still beating kids 14 and 15 years old when he goes to the GoPro Motorplex. Here already this weekend, he's had some top runs in qualifying. Talk about how your weekend's going so far.
Going great, actually. We were fortunate because the last practice session of Masters yesterday, I actually totaled and crashed my Masters kart. So this morning we put together a kart that hadn't actually ever run on this track. And obviously there were concerns about whether or not we were going to be able to pull it off, but fortunately we were able to pull it off, and we're very pleased with the results of how things are going.
How did you get started in karting?
Right. So in 1969, my dad read an article in the Miami Herald about a go-kart track then in Miami, Florida. We lived in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
So he took my brother and I down. My brother's 2 years older. And I remember going down there and watching a race, and I said, I don't think there's any way I could ever drive. They were way too fast. So we started, and we were terrible. But by the time I was 19, I won 2 IKF Grand National Championships. I raced all 2 cycles and then got out of karting in 1980 and got back in 2017. So I was out of karting for 37 years until 2017, and then I got back into it. After having seen something at GoPro, I decided to get back into racing. So.
And here you are. And
yeah.
You're coming off a really big weekend down in Jacksonville,
yes,
where you won both the Legends and the Masters. That's over 35 and over 50.
Right.
So you kind of swept those 2. First of all, that's one of my favorite courses in all the country.
Right.
Talk about racing in Jacksonville, and what was that like to be successful?
Well, a couple things. The first time I ever was at that track, because I grew up in Florida, was 1974.
Oh, wow.
So and that's where I won my 2 Grand Nationals in 79. But I'd never run it backwards the way they ran it, and with the chicane, because they always run it the other way without the chicane.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nostalgic to be back, because that track hasn't really changed at all in this many years. So it was kind of cool to kind of go back and win there again.
What are your expectations for the weekend now that you've proven that you can run up front in qualifying?
Right.
Where do we go from here? You got heats and features.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Is to try to maintain your composure and not get too far ahead of yourself in terms of knowing that this is really the first step. It's a long weekend, and just try to be consistent until we get to the feature, and then hopefully we can win the feature. So I try to take it one step at a time and not try to get too far ahead of myself. Obviously, I would like to win both classes, but I know the competition here is really, really steep. And so I'm really gratified that I can do what I'm doing. You know, as opposed to when I was younger, I have much more of an appreciation for the now, and I'm trying to live more in the moment and appreciate what I can do, because I know these years don't last forever. You know, when you were a kid, all you thought about is, I got to win the next thing, I got to win the next thing, you know. So it's more really that.
Talk a little bit about the chassis, because this, I think, is a Tony kart, right?
That is correct.
Second time on the track for this?
Correct.
And then you've got Aero Deadlies as well. Talk about the difference and why you kind of made this one.
Right. So we really like the Aero Deadlies, but Jeff Hudlett, my engineer, and I always try to figure out what can we do to go a little bit faster. We'll never feel complacent. So we bought the Tony kart and trialed it for the first GoPro race of the year. But we felt, well, we've been here before. The Aeros, we'll run those. And then because of the crash, and I wrecked the other one pretty badly, we thought this is as good a time as any. We like it a lot. Honestly, the way he has them set up, they're not too dissimilar to drive, thank goodness, because I thought it'd be a big transition. Because yesterday, all day, I was practicing in one type of chassis. And then today, I moved into this one. And I thought it was going to be a big adjustment. And so far, it hasn't. And they're pretty similar, but we still just scratching the surface, I think, of what we can do with this chassis. So I think, hopefully we'll get it faster than the other ones were, but we'll see.
Now, where do you go from here? Which series are you following? Where can fans keep up with you over the course of the rest of the season?
Yeah, great question. Well, I'm venturing out more, like when I got back in 2017. I really stuck to GoPro because I felt like I didn't want to travel until I got really good there. And now I have been traveling to the Nationals last year and to Jacksonville. So I'll probably try to keep up with the CKNA series because it caters obviously to LO206. It's got the most competition, and I'm looking forward to that. And the Nationals, I might run some WK races when they're here. The 206 only series, obviously, I'll do a little bit of that. It's hard to travel just because of my work, but whenever I can get the time off, I try to race.
Talk about what you do for work.
Yeah.
What your life is like away
Okay.
from the track.
So I'm a physician. I'm a gastroenterologist, actually. And so that's why I was out of karting for so long, because I was building my career. I'm actually an academic physician. I'm actually well known in my field. I've traveled to 36 countries to lecture and to do procedures on camera. I've been to Egypt, I've been to Italy, I've been everywhere in the world. And so, but I made a deal with my wife. If she let me get into karting, I'd do less traveling. But during the day, I do high-end endoscopic procedures. So I do things that are much beyond, let's say, colonoscopy and upper endoscopy. It's almost like surgery with an endoscope, even though I'm not a surgeon. Gastroenterology is a field of internal medicine. So I'm board certified in internal medicine, gastroenterology, and I write a lot of papers and practice medicine. I really enjoy that as well. And I can tell you that I tell people a lot of my success in life really stemmed from growing up in go-kart racing. People don't understand it. Lay people don't really understand what go-karting is all about, right? They think it's like, people just run around having fun. But it's a great sport. It teaches a lot of things about self-reflection, determination, setting goals, trying to really look at yourself and say, what can I do better, and try to always get better. And that's what I've adopted a lot of things from karting to what I do in medicine.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so if y'all were eating dinner during this interview, we're sorry. This is Dr. Todd Barron, still winning go-kart races against drivers half his age. And he's here at the CKNA Spring Nationals, trying to get a couple of more wins. Yeah. More coverage continues on Steering Wheel Nation and the Kart Lounge. Our coverage being sponsored by AEMkarting.com.